Welcome back to Chamber Exchange, the TV show. I want to thank Bank Hometown and St. Vincent Hospital for hosting us. And just for clarification, in the last segment, we had some representatives from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, from the 911 department, and just and everyone's phone bill, the landline, that there's a little surcharge that funds the entire system across the state. So as we learned, there's the equipment distribution program for individuals with different disabilities that need modifications for equipment to utilize 911 and have access to phone access. They've got a program there, and then also on 911 there is a silent feature. So if you're unable to speak and you call 911, 1 is for the police, 2 for the fire department, 3 for EMS, and you're also able to text if you're in a situation you're unable to speak, and a dispatcher can communicate the details of that text to any first responder. So I want to thank them for joining us. Pleased to have within the second segment Meg Coffin, who is the Chief Executive Office of Your Access Advocates. And for our viewers, it was formerly known as the Center for Independent Living. Welcome, Meg.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we changed our name. We celebrated our 50th anniversary a year ago, and our prior name, Center for Living and Working, which is an independent living center, really didn't speak to who we were or what we did. So the board, we were doing our strategic plan and hired a vendor and talked to our stakeholders, and really decided to rebrand, even though we are the same agency and the same mission, with a name that spoke to who we are. We are a disability resource and advocacy center, and we really feel Your Access Advocates does speak to that.
So you know, with that, and congratulations on 50
you.
years. Last year was a year of anniversaries. The Chamber, we celebrated our 150th and your 50th. What does that day-to-day mission look like in terms of you and the staff and the clients that you work with?
So the day-to-day mission of independent living centers really is to ensure that individuals across all disabilities have the access and supports and services to live independently in a community. We are mandated through the Federal Rehab Act, and in that mandate, well over 50% of leadership, staff, and board members are individuals living with disabilities. So when people come to us, they're working with someone who may not be the same disability, but they have maybe had similar issues. So if they're looking for access to benefits, or access to housing, or access to financial literacy, we can either help them within our organization, or we have a vast referral source to connect them to the correct agency that would be able to give them some assistance.
So let's just talk about housing, for a moment, because it dominates polling locally, statewide, nationally. People having challenges with, affordability. There's modifications that are oftentimes needed, whether be someone with disability or age or a variety of things. How would you want to work with someone, say, look, I've got a situation where I'm on a fixed income, I have some various challenges. Are there public, private landlords you work with?
Housing is the biggest issue across the state. For individuals with disabilities, the wait list for a low-income accessible apartment in the city is 30 years. So we help them fill out applications for subsidized housing, because the vast majority of people we work with are looking at subsidized housing. Some are able to pay market rents, or an affordable apartment, but the vast majority really are looking for subsidized. So we help them navigate that housing search process. If they're looking in a specific area, narrowing it to that area. If someone is willing to move outside of an area, sometimes the search is a little quicker. The housing comes up a little quicker, but you also don't want to leave your support network. So if you are Worcester-based, your support system is here. So housing is really difficult. That was another reason for the name change. With center in our name, people thought we were housing, and we weren't. So we don't have a magic button, unfortunately. People come to us, and we can't, we help them with the applications. We tell them where to send them. We can work with them so they can then follow up with anything that's needed. If someone's in a facility trying to get out to come back into the community, we can help them get access to birth certificates and things like that that they may need. So we really work with them to get them to the point where they can be independent.
Just curious, we know that the Worcester Housing Authority, a large portion of their department inventory is affordable housing. There are private developers. who partner with the state and the federal government to provide, affordable housing units. And then there are programs like the Section 8 program or the Mass Rental Voucher program, where someone can go find an apartment that may be privately owned but get a level of subsidy. Ironically, what many people don't know, there's a term called NOAA, Naturally Occurring Affordable Housing, which is the largest number of units out there. These are landlords, property owners who don't gouge people, that they meet their tenants where they're at in terms of affordability. But if you have, I'm just curious if there's situations where you've worked with private landlords on issues of accessibility, mobility, affordability, and how do you engage them?
When people come to us, we will work with them for what the issue is. If someone is behind on rent, we would work with them on that. If they needed some accessibility issues, either the landlord and or the tenant. Unfortunately, the state doesn't really have a listing of private landlords who have accessible apartments. And that's something we really have talked to the state about, that the vast majority of apartments are privately owned. They're not owned by housing authorities or big developers. They are privately owned. And there is no listing out there for us to go to.
I'm glad you said that, because not me, because that's one of the things that's when you really dig into this housing crisis. I mean, the solution, a major part of the solution, is working with these landlords, property owners who are already doing the right thing.
Exactly. And so we do have a community organizer. We do a lot of housing advocacy. Within the city of Worcester, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund changed the mandate, so any developer getting funding from them would have to have 10% of their apartments accessible rather than 5%. And that was a huge win for the folks that we work with and for our advocacy team.
And so, an older city like Worcester, or even, some of the suburban towns, may not have sidewalks. Worcester, they may have, because of the hills and trees. And how do you work with people kind of on mobility issues?
We if people need help getting mobility equipment, we can work with them and connect them to programs. We actually do accessibility surveys too. The agency has done wheelchair strolls in the past with the Accessibility Commission at the city.
I remember as a city councilor participating in that.
And make then recommendations to how to better that street, that sidewalk, that neighborhood. We will go in and do that for private businesses, and we do a lot for cities and towns who get state grants.
Working with them
so that really all public and if private spaces can be accessible to everyone.
So Meg, we just have probably a minute or two left. We were talking before we came on. You're located at the old Unum building, or the Paul Revere building for people in the Wayback Machine, which has been converted and now known as kind of the Worcester Area Nonprofit Center, which is at 18 Chestnut Street, Suite 540. And so how people can learn more, access you, talk to you?
They can call us. They can go online, www.youraccessadvocates.org. If people go to the old name, they will find us. We have everything moved over. Our number is 508-798-0350. And people can just walk in. We take referrals. You don't need to be referred to us by anyone. People can refer themselves. There's no cost for anything that we do. We have programs and grants, so people can come to us with any question, whether it's for themselves or for a loved one.
Well, great program over the years. Heard how it's made a difference for individuals and families. Thanks, Meg, for being with us. That's she's the CEO of the newly named Your Access Advocates, but it's been around for 51 years. So please take advantage of it. Stay with us for our next segment.
Since 1889, Bank Hometown has stepped up to bat for our neighbors. In the past 5 years, we've donated $1.3 million to local organizations that help enrich lives and bring people together. And we're not stopping there. We're always looking to tackle the challenges of today and fuel the leaders of tomorrow. No matter how life changes over the years, we'll continue to show up for our neighbors, for our communities, and for you. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.